So there is so much news today. This is why I've started doing this news show on Saturday, because nobody else does it. So I'm hoping that this is useful to you and helpful and will provide you with information you might not otherwise see until Monday or Tuesday. Anyway, let's get into the news. If you like this kind of content on Saturday, please give me a high sign by hitting the like button. If you really like it, hit subscribe. That way you'll get notified. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to do a complete energy analysis showing exactly what the IRA contribution, well, not exactly, giving my projection of what the IRA contribution will be to Tesla's earnings over the next 5 years, I think, 6 years maybe. Anyway, check that out tomorrow morning. I just did a video that'll be coming Monday night that you'll definitely want to see, talking about a method for creating tremendous revenues for Tesla that has been recommended by somebody in the community, but haven't seen anything from Tesla suggesting they'll do this, but maybe they will. That'll be on Monday night or Tuesday morning, not sure yet. Anyway, hit notify if you'd like to be reminded of those. And then Patreon, remember Patreon, it's only $5 a month. All right, let's jump into the news here. Again, there was so much I could barely, this video will probably already be long. Let's see how it goes. All right, Elon Musk says, no, he's not stepping down. I'm not going to bury the lead here. He's not going away. He's going to stay on as the chief nerd, the techno king of Tesla. No, nobody else is taking over at Tesla. In fact, he says as soon as this new CEO, Linda Yaccarino, takes over in about 6 weeks, that will allow him to step up his activity at Tesla. Now, let's keep in mind, I don't think that he has reduced his availability to be helpful at Tesla by any significant amount. I'm sure that wherever he was needed, wherever he could see opportunities to be of use, he would jump in and was totally on it. Moreover, have you seen all the activity at Tesla over the last 4, 5, 6 months? Oh my gosh, never before so much activity. So I'm not terribly worried about it anyway, but it's nice to see he's not stepping down. Total nonsense from the Wall Street Journal suggesting any such thing. And hopefully on Monday, that will be off the boards, so it's not affecting the price. I believe that was the major reason on Friday why Tesla was down, and then the stock market was down major, I think, because Bank of America said that any recession was going to destroy, kill, massacre the tech industry worse than 2008. I think both of those things will be behind us on Monday. Maybe we'll see some increases in the market as well as with Tesla. Anyway, let's talk about Linda for a minute, at Linda Yaccarino, who's taking over at Twitter. First of all, lots and lots of folks talking about how great this woman is. She's apparently an incredible manager, an incredible salesperson. The left wing says she's too conservative because she is conservative. And then the right wing says that they're all worried about her because she's been sitting on some board or heading up some board for the WEF, the World Economic Forum, if you're not familiar with them. Well, I'm no fan of the World Economic Forum. I would never sit on a board there. However, the fact that she sat on a board there, I don't think is disqualifying even for significant right-wing folks. Remember, there's two ways to deal with the situation when you're on some kind of part of some kind of an organization that you don't agree with everything they're doing. One way is to quit because, you know what, you're just too silly here. I'm out of here. The other way is to stay and make change happen or to make significant impact on the way things are done within that organization. Both of those are legitimate methods of approaching things. I have done both in my life. Maybe you have as well. All right, let's go on to the next piece of news. Oh, I'm sorry. Advertisers say that she has the nickname, the Velvet Hammer. There you go. That's what we need. Some folks are suggesting, hey, will Elon have, just run roughshod over her? Is she somebody that can stand her ground? Or is she going to run roughshod over him? Well, I think that Elon already has a couple of significant managers in major places, like let's say at SpaceX, that they've been able to work together for years and years and years. I don't think this is going to be a problem, but you never know. I mean, obviously it's an issue a question that you want to ask. All right, let's go on to the next one. Herbert Ong and Brian White now seem to agree that the run rate for Tesla is over 1 million. They're putting it at 1.15 now. In May, the run rate for the 4 factories is 1.15 million. So how do you get to 1 million for the year? You would have to lay off people. You would have to shut down production. You would have to have weeks off. You would have to eliminate certain shifts. In another video I was watching, and I don't remember who was making this point. I think I know who it is, but I'm not going to say because I could be wrong. Anyway, when you are running full out like this, it lowers your costs so much. And especially when you're doing a ramp like Tesla's doing with Austin and Berlin, you don't want to stop the ramp. It will cost so many thousands of dollars per vehicle. Some people are putting a number around $2,000 per vehicle savings as you get to the point where you have a full ramp, the full 5 million, which is the initial state that Tesla wanted to get to. So anyway, good on these guys. They are saying it's 1.15 million. I'm sorry, 2.15 million. I'm saying same thing. It's over 2 million, at least at this point, and it will be 2.2 for the year, which will just blow out all the numbers. Connecting the Dots has a new must-see video. And he goes into the nerd stuff. I mean, I'm not a nerd, but it was super interesting to me. I do have a fascination with electric motors. Maybe I'll tell you about that someday. But anyway, he says that the rare earth metal replacement is most likely going to be, I forget here. I wrote it. I didn't write it down, so I can't remember. Anyway, watch the video and you can find out yourself. Jump to the end if you want to see what he thinks it is without going. If you're not a nerd and you're not interested in the science, you could jump to the end and see what it is. But if you are a nerd, hey, this is going to be a fun video. Hans Nelson, he lays out at least a partial claim, and he may be right, to being the very first one to suggest that Tesla do a 1-month free trial on FSD. He says, I was number one on that. And he may have been. And now Elon has said, yep, we're going to do, when we're at the point where we're ready to really go for a broader release, we're going to do a 1-month free trial for anybody that wants it. So hat tip to Hans Nelson for having that idea. And then, but he's going further now, and I'm going to have him on my show on either Monday night or Tuesday morning. And he is suggesting that the subscription deal with FSD should have multiple options. How does that work? This opportunity, this method that he's suggesting, not only would broaden the number of people that are probably involved in getting FSD at different price points, but it would be something that Wall Street could model. They could begin to say, oh, I see, this is the take rate at these different price points. And all of a sudden, FSD might have a valuation of, let's say, on the order of $100 a share all by itself. Okay, watch for that show. James Dama puts a likelihood of level 4 FSD in 2023 at about 25%. He thinks that we could get to the place where you would only have to be notified if there was some condition that wouldn't allow FSD to continue to be fully operational, and you would need to take over. That's kind of the level 4 idea. He's pretty sure that by the end of 2024, that FSD will be solved. He's saying roughly second half of next year, he thinks it'll be solved. He goes on to say, by the way, this was on Dr. Know-It-All's channel. So if you want to see the whole interview with John Gibbs, check it out on John's channel there, Dr. Know-It-All. He's saying that he thinks FSD will be completely ready to go by second half of next year. That's his estimate. He says that the version 11 was such a step change. He says before version 11, he was kind of, maybe I can see still, but as a version 11, he says, for the first time, I can see the end. I can see where we're going. And one of the big changes that everybody's talking about is that now the emphasis seems to have switched from safety to comfort, that there are virtually no interruptions anymore for safety related issues. The interruptions now are because people want to go faster. They don't want to wait. They don't think that it's in the right lane. These kinds of things. So this is James Dama, smart guy, if you know who he is. But if you don't know who he is, go ahead and take a look at that video on John Gibbs' channel, Dr. Know-It-All. All right. So here's a big one. This is an interesting one. In response to legal processes and to ensure Twitter remains available to the people of Turkey, We have taken action to restrict access to some content in Turkey today. So the Turkish government said, we want you to stop providing content that is favorable to our opponents the day of the election. Now, I would have rather that Turkey had said, we'd like you to stop all political content at all with regard to Turkey, maybe the day before, the day of, during the election. I would be good for that, but only saying stop it with regard to our opponent, that's pretty sad. Well, anyway, that was Twitter's response to Turkey's requirement. They said, okay, we're going to do that. Matthew, I'm going to blow his name, Iglesias, I think. He responded, he says, the Turkish government asked Twitter to censor the opponents right before the election, and Elon Musk complied. He says, this should generate some interesting Twitter files reporting. And Elon's response is, did your brain fall out of your head, Iglesias? The choice is to have Twitter throttled in its entirety or limit access to some tweets. Which one do you want? So again, what I would have said is, if you're Twitter, okay, you're going to stop it for the opponent. We'll stop everybody's, all political content for that one day. What do you think? Be more than happy to see your comments down below, because this affects every single country in the world that has elections. It even affects the United States. That's why Iglesias is making reference to the Twitter files, is because that's what the US government said was, hey, we don't want our opponents' content to be up on Twitter, and Twitter was complying. So what do you think about this with regard to Turkey, with regard to the United States? Should we maybe have a complete shutdown of all political commentary on the day of an election? Now, in the United States, now some cities and states and whatever, you have an election that goes for 2 months, but all the write-ins and all the going to the local polling place anytime you want. But what about actual election day? Maybe that one day we would end political commentary entirely. What other ideas do you have with regard to this? It's going to be an ongoing issue. So then we go to Bloomberg. Bloomberg has a podcast called Switched On, and I think the article's name was Powering the World's Most Populous Country. It says that India is building 200 gigawatts of solar panel factory capacity, okay, and targeting 500 gigawatt solar installed in 4 years. So I don't know if you've seen it, but Tony Seba put together a deal that said that India could be completely 100 solar plus battery for, I believe it was $1 trillion. I worked that out. I think it was like $10 per Indian citizen per year for 10 years. It looks like maybe India has listened to Tony Seba. Can you imagine if India was 100% run on solar and battery? The cost of electricity would go to almost zero. The wealth in India would multiply many, many times, as they would then be able to have all of the modern conveniences, all the light, all the electric, all the power that they would need to do whatever they need to do. It would be huge. And of course, that's true for Indonesia. Just go down the list. So on that same version, let's take a look at what Australia is doing. Electric Viking has a video out just this morning. You can go look it up. And he's saying that Australia is building 3 batteries, which will be larger than any other batteries that are currently in existence. One of those will be a 500 gigawatt battery, which will be just 100 gigawatts larger than the largest battery right now, which is the Moss Landing battery in California. Then there's another one that's in the planning stages that'll be 1 terawatt. So 2.5 times larger than Moss Landing and double the size of this one. And then there's another one by the way, that's only in the planning stages. They're not 100% sure if that one will go forward, but it looks like it will. And then how about this one? This is not in the planning stage. This is actually going to happen. It is a 2 terawatt battery that's going to be installed in, I think, in West Australia, which will make it 5 times larger than Moss Landing. So the revolution is on us. The revolution is here. It's happening before our very eyes. All 3 of these are going to be powered by wind and solar. This Australia will at this point become 100% no coal, no gas. It's going to be able to, you can run the whole country based on solar and wind, and they will begin to export using green hydrogen. So they will manufacture green hydrogen in Australia, put it on ships, and ship out energy to other countries. So yeah, the revolution is here. It's happening in front of us. I hope that this content has been helpful and useful to you. Please hit like if you haven't already, because if you hit it twice, do you know what happens? You unlike. Well, no, you don't unlike, you just don't like. Anyway, hit it if you haven't done it already. Hit subscribe if you'd like to see more like this. And also it helps my overall cred and the algo. And then notify if you'd like to see these upcoming videos that I've been mentioning already, including the brand new other news show on Monday morning, where I report the news that you won't see until Monday afternoon after the market closes from Sunday, because there's lots of news on Sunday. I'm now reporting it early Monday morning. This particular week, it might be a little later, might be like 8:30, 9 o'clock before you see it, but it'll be there. All right. And then, of course, help me on Patreon if you can. That's it for now, and it's been great talking to you.